Preparation. You need to have for every patient, you have a cap. The cap is necessary in order to find the individual motor cortex, and then the motor cortex, and from there the individual stimulation point. Then you determine CSAT, stabilized patient head. We will come to this. After that, when you have the motor hotspot, to determine the precise place of the motor hotspot, we will use the 9-point grid. In alternative to this, the EMG. And once the motor hotspot search was successful, then we determine the motor threshold, so the amount, the intensity which is individually necessary for this patient. Once we have done this, then we determine the therapy hotspot where the treatment then takes place, and very important also the positioning of the coil, but we will get to this right now and later, especially in the hands-on part.
Okay.
Okay.
You recording this?
Yeah.
So, put on the TMS cap. So, important is that you place it symmetrically, so that you place it here, so there's the front side, and as shown on the, but you get all the information, so you get all the power points. So I think in that case it's not necessary to make any notes.
Okay.
Maybe later during the live hands-on, maybe there it could be useful to make some notes, but right now it's not necessary. So place it symmetrical, meaning not like this or like this, place it here, correct, symmetrical. Then this is now interesting. So the CSAT, could you give me the what's
Vertex.
Vertex, thank you. So the top middle of your head is called the vertex. Normally when you sit upright and you take your finger like this, you normally should find automatically, if you do it, and also your patients, this gives you a first indication, exactly. Do it also, try it, yeah, exactly, and I'm pretty sure that both of you are now pretty close, maybe even perfectly have matched the vertex. This is a very important point to determine the other points.
Right.
Okay. Some words to know. Nasion, this is the place here, in between your eyebrows, and the inion is at the back of the head, where where you have such a bone. Maybe you can feel it at the back, where there is the upper part of your skull and the lower part of the skull. This is the part which reaches out most to the backside.
Right.
And we want to determine the length of this. So therefore we need to have these two positions. And then you have the preauricular point, which is actually when you have this little thing here. And when you then open the mouth, you place your finger here and you open the mouth and you feel a little
Oh yeah.
yeah? Okay, this is exactly the point, because we want to determine also the length of this. So we have this from the nose to the inion, and we will have from these 2 points by the ear, and then you have the vertex. Okay, this is first step of the measurement. Okay, here we see it now, but we will do it later in hands-on. Exactly. Nasion, inion, preauricular point. So these are the 3 points you need to determine the vertex.
Also, you measure this to this
Yes,
bit, and
exactly,
in the middle.
exactly. And,
Yes.
and then you will write these measurements on the cap. But later we will have plenty of time, and tomorrow we will repeat and repeat, so that you are really solid in this procedure.
Very good.
So then the last thing which you also measure, okay, tragus to tragus, easy way to say it, at this point is the tragus, okay? Tragus to tragus, nasion to inion, and then you have the vertex. Yeah? And you measure one more thing. Let's stabilize, forget about this. Okay, you measure one more thing because you have, with every set, you have something like this. Simple, okay. You measure also the, how you call it?
Circumference. Circumference.
Yes.
Excellent, I didn't know. Could you tell me again, please?
Circumference.
Circumference, okay. I try to remember, circumference, yeah. And you put these three figures on the cap of the patient, so you have these three informations. Because later you have to put these figures into a software, and this makes then a calculation for you. All right, so far so good. We will leave this. Okay, now the coil. On the coil, as I showed you, this is the point where you want to place it on the skull of the patient in order to find the motor cortex, that hotspot where you have the reaction in the hand, and also this is the point where you want to have the treatment once you figured out where this point is. Of course, when you look on the coil, you can't see this point. It's somewhere here, but you can't see it. Yeah? Therefore, you have this line here, yeah, in order, which means this is the starting point. And then, from that line to the center, this is 5 centimeters. We will later show you. So you have to just for your information. So the point you're looking for is always 5 centimeters away from the actual point of the stimulation. Yeah? All right. Okay. Here you see from the vertex, it is 99% of the whole population. The motor hotspot is here within this region. So this is a good starting point to search for the motor hotspot. 5 centimeters to the left from the vertex. But again, you get all these
slides. We have a quick guide. There's also with pictures that where you see what you have to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is it always to the left?
Yes.
Always to the left?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But actually, you could do it also to the
on
right.
On the right side.
Just to see.
Yeah.
But normally you do it to the left side, and you see the right hand moving.
Mhm.
But if you have a patient who hasn't got a right arm, then you have to do it on the right side,
Okay.
and you have to see. Or you have an hemiparese maybe,
Yeah.
or something like this.
Yeah.
Then you have to do it on the right side, and you see
Yeah.
the left.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if the extremities are not available on one side, you can do it on the other. So it's just a standard to do it that way. But if there are circumstances, you could do it on the other side. No? Okay, marking starting point for localization 5 centimeters lateral from the vertex. There should be the motor hotspot in 99% of all humans. Okay, then determine starting point for hand area. So you draw a line. Once you have measured this, once you have measured that, then you go 5 centimeters to the left, and then you make with a 45 degree angle, you create this little helping line again on the cap. On the cap. Yeah. So then you create some additional helping lines to create a kind of a raster. But we have different thing, but it's good. It's good to know how to. Hast du zufällig einen Star? Das wäre jetzt schon nicht schlecht. Ach so. because
On
we have created a little helping tool,
Right.
which you put on the
cap. How many different lines 1 centimeter apart do you draw?
I will show you right
Sorry,
now.
1
So
centimeter.
look,
Sorry.
so this is the grid. Okay, so
I
there.
have one, but it's.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, so you could either make this with these helping lines and then create this grid with these 9 dots, and within this area you should find the motor hotspot. But there is something available which makes life more easy. So these nine dots are here. Here you have the vertex, and you place it in a certain way, which we show you and which you will train very much on the head, and then you can easily with a marker bam 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 make your grid. So it's a faster and more reliable way. Because maybe there you could have slightly different. So this helps you to find the grid, the 9-point grid, reliable and reproducible and more easy. Just a helping tool. But in case the helping tool is not available, it's good to know the alternative without it. Okay. So once you have draw these 9-point grid with 1 centimeter distance, you can start with the coil. So you start here again, 45 degree the angle of the coil, but we will do this all hands on. So the coil should not be like this; it should be 45 degrees like this. Not 90 degrees like this, and always from the back of the patient, but Katharina will later show you this in hands-on. And then you go from point to point and try to find out where is the best reaction. So the most significant reaction. In some of these points, when you go point by point, you will see no reaction, but maybe in 2 or 3 of these points you will see a certain reaction. And then you try to determine, okay, which of these points creates the best hand or thumb reaction. Okay, that's. Okay, starting point, and then you move on, and here, and it's always go to the next grid. If there is nothing, or spot it if you have 3 times out of 6 a reaction. Okay, then you mark it. Okay, go to the next grid, next grid, next grid, next grid, next grid. Once you have gone through all these 9. But you do this only once for the patient, only at the start. This is a little time intensive. This will take for an unexperienced user maybe 30-40 minutes. Okay, right. So in total, to find the therapeutical point, the treatment point. But after a while, it will, as everything, once you're used to it, then this will go faster. But this you have to tell.
It's very important.
It's very important. It is actually, I would say, one of the most important things of all, because if you make here a mistake, then you have at the end the wrong treatment point. So very important indeed, as you said. Okay, so try all spot and still no stable MP. Okay, increase. Okay, you start with a certain intensity. You won't start with a very high intensity. You maybe start with 30-40% of the maximum. And I tell you now a funny story from Hong Kong, where I just came from. I would say, Katharina, please correct me. Here, the European Caucasian heads, they have in average something 40-45 of the maximum output. as a
motor threshold.
as a motor threshold.
No, in between 40 to 60.
Okay, 40 to 60. And now, wait till you write it down, because now the funny thing. In Hong Kong, this was a huge group of, let's say, 25 people who received the training there. And it was also a hands-on part of it. And there, the average was 20. Even Professor Pattberg, who joined me there, he couldn't believe it. He wasn't aware. I don't know why he wasn't aware, because
the average was what?
20. 20. And there were some of the ladies who even had a motor threshold like 16, which is less than half or less than a third. And then the next funny thing is, in Japan, the average motor threshold is 60. I mean, Chinese and Japanese, we would say, they are quite similar,
Yes.
but they are in that term they are completely different. Yeah. So it was really interesting for me. So in other words,
do you know what that is?
Huh?
Do you know how like what that is?
It must have to do something with the structure of the skull.
Yeah, yes.
But before I would say, a Japanese and a Chinese head couldn't be that far off, no? But indeed it is. So I tried to find out. This was something I wrote in Hong Kong. I tried to find out if I could find any average information regarding a Caucasian head, regarding an Asian head, and regarding an African head. In order to see, maybe I can give you a hint.
Yes.
In which range, but maybe we can try out together, at least with you two, what is your threshold, to have an idea whether it's more in the lower range or more in the upper range. So, because before I thought the range was 40 to 60, but now I say it's 20 to 60.
Yeah.
So interesting, very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So if you don't find a motor hotspot with your starting intensity, you will increase the intensity. And people who are very well trained, they normally start with a higher intensity because they have a feeling of where to find, and so they perform it faster. But I would recommend in the beginning to be more on the safe side, and to start with a lower intensity and then slowly move it up till you find reaction. Okay. All right. Motor hotspot localization. Spot with most stable maps. Maps means the reaction, the visible reaction in the head. And again, this is rule 3 of 6. So when you do on one spot, you do 6 pulses. Then you should have minimum the half of it. You should have a visible reaction. Okay.
Also, some parts on the grid dots do have reactions, some of them don't.
Exactly. That's the idea, because the grid gives you a defined field, and also by having these dots, you can search dot by dot where do I have a reaction and where do I have the best reaction. And from that point on, you define this as your motor hotspot. And then the next thing, we will come to it, then you define the threshold, so the intensity. So you start playing with the intensity till you define the lowest intensity where you have a visible reaction. But there is again a semi-automized thing in the software which helps you then to define the lowest intensity with reaction. Katharina will show you this detailed and intense. Okay, mark this hotspot point. So one of these 9 you have now found out that this is your hotspot, your motor hotspot. Okay, now automatic or semi-automatic with the software, we will go through this. This is now the last step to define the intensity of the pulses. Yeah? So the so-called motor threshold estimation. Yeah? This I want